Welcome, everybody. Episode 5 of FranFunnel Live. As teased by our guest interviewer last time, Mr. Dolan, we decided that we better spend some time talking about email. We spoke about it last time. Email is a super complicated marketing vehicle from a technical perspective. So we brought in the expert specifically to kind of give us a heads up of how it actually works. So welcome, Mr. Dolan.
Thank you for having me, Eli.
Absolutely. So I think we're going to just ask one big question today, which is like, we have a system, FranFunnel. FranFunnel decides that it needs to send an email to a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
FranFunnel, the machine says, okay, it's time to send an email. I kind of want you to walk me through, like, what does that actually mean? What are the various systems involved? Like, how does that work?
Okay, well, I mean, at its core, email is a messaging protocol.
Okay.
It's one of the older protocols that sits on top of the internet, and it comes from a time when sort of the design of protocols was a bit more open-ended.
Okay.
People were less interested in building like centralized servers,
Okay.
because you were at a time when like computers were going offline. It was much less likely that you would have a computer sitting in a data warehouse somewhere that was just constantly on, constantly serving.
Okay.
And so the protocol was designed actually to be really robust and really peer-to-peer.
Okay.
So different people, you could set up your computer right now as an email server, and you could have your own at eli.com. It doesn't need to live somewhere else. The problem with that is, though, if you build an open protocol like this, people start using it for spam. And so, as you know, spam is a huge problem. Anybody can start up a server; they can suddenly just start sending email.
Sure.
In fact, there's nothing in the protocol of email that actually requires it to have originated from the server that it claims to be.
Whoa.
So much like you can send a letter through the mail and write whatever return address you want on it, email was kind of designed in that way.
Weird.
So eventually people started layering on like a lot of different things on top of that.
Okay.
They layered in some authentication protocols. Individual service providers like Gmail became very good at determining the difference between an email that was intended versus an email that was spam. And we got to a place where all these additional layers made it very complicated.
Okay.
They're things that aren't entirely documented, like the spam detection algorithms. They're things that are documented, but are in sort of like a weird world of just like difficult things, like the authentication mechanisms.
Yeah.
And so you start to see a lot of these like email service providers pop up that sort of abstract some of that away from you. For example, SendGrid.
Okay.
SendGrid's a very popular choice for this, where they basically take a lot of the heavy lifting off of it, and we are able to communicate with it using normal REST APIs.
Gotcha.
Which, if you don't know, that's the way that most services today communicate.
Okay.
And so we sit on top of those protocols, and then we basically provide orchestration of when to send, how to send, who to send to, when to stop sending to people. We orchestrate all of that through an internal system that we built called Raven.
Gotcha. So you have FranFunnel, which says, okay, lead comes in, I need to send an email to it. Then we have a layer of technology called Raven, which says, okay, email time. Raven comes in and says, what does the email need to send? Who's it from? All these kind of things. Raven talks to SendGrid. SendGrid's an email service provider?
Yeah.
Okay, so SendGrid then says, cool, thanks, Raven. We're going to go take care of all these technical things that you guys don't want to take care of yourself. And then SendGrid sends something to Gmail? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so SendGrid will actually have servers sitting in a data warehouse somewhere. And Gmail has servers all over the world. And these two servers will actually talk to one another to get this message sent and in your Gmail inbox.
Gotcha.
And then if you want to go even further, at some point, Gmail processes that email that it received, puts it in a big database, and then sorts it, allows you to search for it, all kinds of stuff that you then interact with on Gmail.
Gotcha. So we have control of everything from when we decide an email is going to be created to what happens in SendGrid. And the user, or the lead, has control of everything of what happens when their relationship with Gmail. So it sounds like the relationship between SendGrid and Gmail is one that we're kind of all betting on. So what happens there?
Well, there's a lot of complexity there, because again, ultimately Gmail's goal is to provide the best email experience to their users.
Sure.
And if they allow for emails that are undesirable to get through, then suddenly their reputation is hurt. Gmail's actually I mean, they've had spam filters for a long time.
Sure.
But Gmail was the one that really kind of pioneered the use of like a really like large database of information with machine learning to actually like stop it getting through. But for us as an email sender, that can make it very difficult.
Sure.
Because it's really, really hard for you to know exactly why Gmail categorizes something as spam versus not spam. And so there's a lot of tips and tricks. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do, and if you like meet with an inbox consultant, they'll help you get into an inbox using tricks. But at the end of the day, what you're really looking for is this email I'm about to send something that this person wants to read?
Sure.
And if you use these tricks, the things that are out there that help, it might help, but it might help only temporarily.
Right.
If you're sending email that people actually want to read, it's going to help permanently.
Of course.
And so all of our technical systems, all of our email design, the fact that in FranFunnel we don't let people just write their own emails.
Sure.
It's all coming down to this fact that we want to ensure that our sender reputation is as good as possible, our client sender reputation is as good as possible, and the email that we're sending is something that people actually want to read, so we can maintain that sender reputation into the future.
Well, if you're like me, that was the clearest explanation I've ever heard, and it only took 10 minutes. So if you have any questions about email or want to learn a little bit more about how FranFunnel does email or any of the different things we talked about today, you know where to find us. And I won't tease the topic for episode 6 so that we don't pigeonhole us into what we're doing next, but thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back soon.
All right, thanks for having me.
All righty.